Star Station, it's a really fun map for a ZVP. I think that the third base is going to have a big play, but why don't you go ahead, Zoya, and introduce these two players?
Alright, well, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map as our red Protoss player. Team list in about mid-masters, we have Zeko. And his opponent in the top left-hand corner of the map, from Team FM, having a pretty popular following in the chat, we have Shibbxyz. Sure, excuse me, Shibbxyz. You said he's from the UK?
He is from the UK. It's Shibbxyz, but everyone just calls him Shibby because it's easier to say. And of course, Zeko is the Protoss player. Now, what I did mention earlier about Star Station is the third base. It makes such a massive difference on this map. It is force cross spawns. I did take a quick look while we were loading in, and that makes things slightly better, but ultimately it's a very wide open third, which can make things a little bit difficult, and that's something which obviously will impact the game. Maybe Zeko will be looking for some two base sort of timing. Stargate wouldn't be bad on this map because of all the dead space, and generally that's what we should be seeing going into the mid game.
Yeah, it's a pretty versatile map for Protoss. We do see that Zeko is moving out with the Pylon Scout on 9, going to be going for that Forge Fast expand. No early pulls or any crazy shenanigans from either of these players, and it's a good point that you bring out the third base. Again, it does have that open, natural area. This is a map where the Stefano style from Wings of Liberty, where you just put a lot of pressure on that third base, can done pretty well. It's very hard to defend this third base. You have to get a lot of gateways down, a lot of cannons, and there's just so many attack paths. It could be difficult for Zerg to hold it off if they don't prepare properly. They don't prepare properly.
Now, obviously, what we've got coming down is just going to be a Forge Fast expansion out of Zeko. I think that's a smart move to make getting the Forge first. It'd be very risky going Nexus first on this map. Currently, Shibby obviously just going to try and take his hatchery. This probe is going to block it quite successfully and may even get the drone kill. This will force Shibby to pull yet another drone. But no, actually, Zeko pulling back there. He definitely could have made that kill. So, surprised to do that. But Shibby now able to secure his natural hatchery. And all he's got to really look at doing is working out his third base timing.
Yeah, we do see the Nexus going down for Zeko. You pointed out the Forge first. This is a pretty important tournament for these players. And, we don't know how often these two are playing against each other. So just play as safe as possible. The difference between Nexus first and, a 15 Forge isn't that big of a deal when it comes to your economy, so just playing a little bit safe is better. We do see that Cannon is halfway done, Nexus is halfway done as well, and it's a waiting game now. 4 Lings do pop out to chase off this probe, and we'll have to wait and see where when Shibbxyz wants to get that third base of his.
Of course, these Zerglings are really just coming out in order to push back that probe, make sure no proxy pylons or any fancy shenanigans like that are occurring, and really giving Shibby the safety in order to take his third base, which should be coming down in the near future, assuming, of course, that he's going to be getting a quick third. He does have gas, and what gas is going to allow him to do is get out speed slightly earlier, potentially go into some roaches slightly earlier. It's not what you usually see with 2 drones only in there. It's not a big commitment to it, but this will delay his third hatch quite significantly. Now
the probe did fall to these Lings, which is important to note from Zeko, and I want to point out his wall off. I'm a little curious as to the way he's doing it. He does have the pylon wall off. There is a hole here on the left side. There are multiple ways you can wall off on this map. I'm not too fond of the pylon wall off. It makes it easier for the Zerg to bust you. What are your opinions on this style of wall off on this map, Mattles?
Well, I think you're right. It does make it easier to bust through, but then it's quicker to get down, and it means that you are safer. And very few Zergs do try to go for an absolutely massive busting move super early on, and when you've got sentries out, it means that you're not going to have too much of a problem, and ultimately you do have a second cannon. A second cannon was queued up there, was cancelled, but is going to go down now, so this is a very, very defensive position coming down from the Protoss player, clearly feeling slightly uneasy about what Shibby may be throwing at him.
Yeah, it's not like he's scouting anything, or he has no probe out on the map. This is just him playing just blindly defensive. He doesn't see what's going on in Shibbxyz base. We do see that Shibbxyz is still on 2 hatcheries, taking a really quick third and fourth gas, or excuse me, second and third gas, no fourth just yet. So there is going to be some form of aggression here from Shibbxyz, but he has no clue that he's just, like we said, blindly throwing down that second cannon.
So the second cannon obviously will just mean that he's got slightly better defense. He should be in a relatively good spot if there was any aggression coming. For the moment though, should be getting down a lair, not really trying to take a third base, which is not the usual thing you'd see. But on Star Station, as we mentioned at the start, the third is so difficult to take that you have to be really cautious about doing it, and therefore getting this layer out quicker may actually benefit Shibby in the mid-game.
And your mic and quality just improved dramatically over a second. That was awesome. It's like you came to life right into my ears. It was awesome.
I worked out what the problem was, and I have now fixed it, and it will not occur again. It's just...
That is good.
It's being all pretty funky.
Just like you're a completely different person right now. It's very soothing on the ears. But we do see that layer's almost done. He's up to 4 gases here. He's getting the early Overlord speed. We'll have to see what tech he wants to go. 20 speedlings on the way. Speed is now done, so he will be able to shut down any form of scouts. There is the Mothership Core moving across the map, but that's really it for the Protoss player.
Yeah, this is all he's got. The robotics facility, as you said, on its way down. Meanwhile, we've got the Hydra Den for Shibby. So Hydras are going to allow him to put on quite a bit of pressure. He doesn't yet have a Rotoran, so it's literally going to be Ling Hydra. Very aggressive, very mobile if he gets the muscular augments coming down, and therefore should be able to put on a bit of pain. And up against a build which is focusing on robotics facility tech, Shibby's going to be in a great spot because the Hydras really counter that until Colossi come out.
Yeah, another cannon going down here for Zeko. He did scout a bunch of lanes, went across the map with his Mothership Core. That Zealot summoned up. Nice use of the Overlord to drop creep at this third base, just to delay it, as well as he's going to put Overlord creep in front of the natural as well. So when his Hydras do get here, they'll have an extra little bit amount of mobility to help them apply pressure. There are 3 cannons at this natural base, and the gateway does complete that wall off, so no links can run through. So this is going to be an interesting thing to try and see. Shibby's try and bust, but with the Hydra range upgrade, he'll be able to poke away at this gateway, the forge, and the pylon without being in range of the cannon.
Now, that's a good point to make, actually, that we are going to have... Oh, we've got a little bit of lag coming out from you, Zoya, here, so not quite sure what's going on.
Starcraft just crashed.
That is, of course, very unfortunate, but probably means that I am going to have to solo cast this unless this does fix itself, but... PC crashes are never going to be fun, and Shibby even doing a shout out to Apollo there. Good guy Shibby, doing all of the shout outs here.
I do have the preview screen, so I can see what's going on in real time, but...
Oh yeah, you can, can't you? That's...
Yeah, but the game actually completely closed out. It just randomly did that for some reason, so
that gives us actually a good point to recap what we've seen so far. Now, the big thing about this game is the fact that Shibby is only just about to complete his 3rd hat-trick. That is incredibly late compared to a normal ZVP timing, but it's meant that he's able to get out Hydralisk a lot earlier. He's got speed coming down, and he's got 12 Hydras in production. That's going to be a lot of aggression coming in. And ultimately, if Zeko doesn't come against that in a nice way with a lot of units and a really good defense, he could ultimately lose out very quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough hold. We'll have to see the Hydra speed finishing up. Hydras are going to move across the map, and with that extra creep with the speed, it's going to be a difficult bus. I can't see the production tab right now, so I don't know how many high, but it's going to be a tough hold even with the 3 cannons.
Well, there's 12 Hydralisks on the way, along with 20 Speedlings, but behind this, Shibby's just pumping out more drones, 10 in production, so this isn't an all-in. He's getting down a 2nd evolution chamber, securing his 3rd, and really just droning up. This is to apply pressure and to keep Zeko back in his base and prevent him from really being able to take a 3rd or risk moving out. A couple of Stalkers getting quite out of position, and the Mothership Core gets sniped out as well there, Zoya. That is a big loss for essentially nothing.
And there's all these Zealots in front of the wall, too, which means they can't retreat behind the wall. Once the Hydras get in range, they're just going to be picked off, and here we go. Lings and Hydras poking forward here. There is no way out. He's actually target firing his own gateway to try and save these units. The Forge is being target fired down. The upgrade probably won't finish, and there it goes. It does get canceled. Zealots are being picked off as well. That gateway's just about to fall so he can get his Zealots out of there. The 3 cannons still stand, but without that upgrade from the Forge, and with one less gateway, this is still going to be a very, very difficult hold.
It is a difficult hold, but the thing is, Shibby isn't committing to this push. He's not trying to kill his opponent here. All he's trying to do is make sure that he stays back and really doesn't come out. It's allowing Shibby to get down his hive. He's got the 1-1 melee upgrades coming down, as well as Groove Spine. And if we actually look at the worker count, we can see that Shibby's up at 70 drones to 48 probes. He's in a really nice economical position, and therefore, he doesn't really have to worry moving forward. Whereas Zeko, he lost that upgrade, which would have been really important, and also has lost quite a few of the units that he could have been pushing with after just that little bit of aggression.
Yeah, and the progression continues. Zealots coming forward here is going to be picked off by these Hydras. Shibbxyz is doing an excellent job containing his opponent right now. He has to retreat to hold off this push, though. There are 2 Immortals with it. The thing to note, though, is there's only 3 sentries with this army. To be able to hold this off properly, you would need a lot of force fields. We'll have to see if he can land them. Zumlings do come forward, force fields do go down. The Zealots are going to start devouring these. The Hydras really need to reinforce this army, though.
Yeah, the Hydra's coming in from behind. This is going to get cleaned up exceptionally easy. We can see Zeko trying to get his force fields off as best as he can, but just so many Hydras, and Hydras tear apart Immortals and Gateway units. So this push shut down incredibly easily, and Shibby looking to be in a great spot going into this game. Zeko behind this is getting down his Robotics base, teching into Colossus, but the Ultralisk Cavern already getting started for the Zerg player is putting him in a really nice spot, and it's going to be incredibly hard for the Protoss player to come back here, especially with just such a large supply advantage for the Zerg.
Yeah, if the supply were this close with, or at this distance, with him having a 3rd base, then it would be, an okay situation. Not the end of the world, at least, for the Protoss player, but because he's still on the 2 bases, and just now starting that Robo-Bay tech, his only real option is to do a 2-base Robo all-in, and even then, that's, a stretch. Like you said, the Ultra Den's on the way. Upgrades are going to still be in favor of our Zerg player.
Oh no, I've just noticed that an Immortal is trapped in Zeko's base. It can't get out. The wall-off was there. That is not... You need every unit. In comes Shibby now. He is piling through. All the Speedlings running straight forward. The Hydras tearing apart everything. A lot of damage being done here. And Zeko looking to be able to hold off for the moment. Some good force fields trapping a couple of Hydralisks. With just so many units out on the field. Shibby, he's just keeping his opponent's supply down while he's getting out six Ultras behind this, as well as the 2-2 upgrades, and having already secured a 4th base to just the 2 of the Protoss is spectacularly ahead.
Yeah, like you said, he's able to make trades like these, take down a few buildings. The Hydras are still here. +2 melee attack with Carapace halfway done. War Prism moving out with 2 Immortals inside of it, so he did free that 1 Immortal, and he's going to be doing some drop play. Actually, no, he's just going to drop him at his natural base, so he built that 1 War Prism just to save that 1 Immortal without having to kill buildings.
Now, yeah, that 1 Immortal probably wouldn't have made a huge difference, but of course you want every unit you can. The Ultra count, though, is about to skyrocket, and this is where things get scary. We've got Enduring Locust coming down as well for Shibby, so that means that he's got the option to go into some Swarm Host play. Really, he's contained his opponent, denied the 3rd base while expanding himself. He's got a great economy, better upgrades, better tech. In every major aspect of the game, Shibby is ahead at the moment, but Zeko, he does have his first Colossus down. He's getting his 2nd one on its way, and is just making sure that he holds as best he can. The only thing that's really been keeping him in it so far are some good force fields, but once the Ultras come in, that is going to get shut down as well.
Well, the thing about Star Station is that choke is very narrow, so it's hard to break through. But here comes the Ultras leading the charge. Zealots not really at the front right now. Immortals are going to be really important in this engagement. Will he be able to target down the Ultras, and he just backs up into this little choke. And this is such a hard choke to break. The fact that there are no cannons here makes it a lot easier for the Zerg to break through there. I think our Zerg player is just taking it as easy as or safe as possible. We do have Vipers on the way, which is going to help. Abducts on the Immortals and Abducts on the Colossus is going to change this engagement.
It will massively change the engagement, and of course, I actually quite like the fact that Shibby is... Well, Shibby dancing his Ultralisks there. They are happy dancing Ultralisks, but of course the additional bases that we've got coming down for Shibby just mean that he can maximize his late game efficiency, make sure he's got a great economy, and he's at no real risk. The only concern that you can have is that if you sit back and are too passive, if you don't keep the aggression coming, your opponent can build up an army, and ultimately a 200 of 200 army is scary whether it's built from 2 bases or 10.
You see that we are getting the Locust upgrade. Protoss player is moving across the map. I can't tell if there's a spine crawler wall up, but even if there wasn't, I don't think our Zerg player needs it. He's pretty far ahead right now. Vipers are building up that energy right now. And there we go, finally seeing the spines going down. A little late, but again, look how many Ultras are on the field. He doesn't really need it right now.
And the other thing as well, I think, which is worth noting, is Shibby, by not rushing, he's just showing Zeko in the first game of this best of 3 that he is in complete control at every stage. But here comes the engagement. The Vipers moving forward, grabbing some abducts. The Colossi are going to get taken down exceptionally quickly. The Hydras from the back doing some nice damage. A Blinding Cloud even being used. The dance on all the units. What a dance there. And there goes down the GG. Shibby takes game 1 of this best of 3.